All right, so tonight we're looking at the Swedish Institute Scholarships for Global Professionals. This is what we'll be talking about today. I know a lot of people have heard about the Swedish Institute Scholarship Program. I'm not sure how many of you understand how it works. It's a very popular program all over the world with almost 42 countries or thereabout eligible to participate in the program. And it's quite a rich one as well. So I think I just thought it would be very important for us to discuss it in the scholarship show. And that's why I'm talking about it today. So as usual, the order of our presentation will not be different from what we've been having in the past weeks. The focus will just be the only thing that will change. So we'll look at why you should think of Sweden if you're considering a study abroad program, and we'll look at understanding the Swedish Institute Scholarships Program. Sorry, excuse me, let me quickly do some share this so I know. And we'll look at understanding the Swedish Institute Scholarship Program for global professionals. Then we'll look at how to apply for this particular program. And then we'll look at what you will need to apply for this program. And yeah, so this webinar is hosted by Scholarship Mastery Academy, which is a platform that I started with the vision to make students fit and ready for scholarships. And we do that through webinars like this one, sharing of scholarship opportunities. We run an online course, and we also run a coaching and mentoring program. So let's go to the real deal of today, which is the Swedish Institute Scholarships for Global Professionals. So why should you think of studying in Sweden? And this is what we do at every webinar. We try to highlight the strong points of every country because every country is unique and different. It's quite important that you understand where you're going to or have a reason why you actually choosing a particular country. Don't just pick a country because you like the name or you heard something about the country and you feel, okay, that's the way to go. You need to be sure of the reasons why you are choosing a particular country for your study program. Before I went to Australia, I was quite meticulous about where I wanted to go. And like I've always shared on the show, I had the opportunity to go to US and had the opportunity to go to Canada as well, even though some of those didn't work out the way I wanted. But then my first love in terms of abroad study had been Australia, and I focused on it until I got it because I got to understand a few things about the country and I felt, okay, maybe this is where I should go. So it's good to understand why you should choose a particular country for your study program. So for Sweden, number one is, as usual, I'll just pick a few points, and if you want, you can look up the rest for yourself, which is not very difficult to do. You can find everything online. And with little reading, you'll be able to understand it very well. But the first here is that students who go to Sweden are able to work while studying for up to 40 hours a week, which is a good thing, a really, really good thing. I mean, 40 hours a week is like full-time job actually in a country like Australia, because as a student, you will not be able to work up to 40 hours a week in Australia, So, but in Sweden, this is possible. And another thing about it is that there are opportunities for you to renew your student permit, which allows you to continue to work after your study or even start your own business if you have the means to do that. Number two is that the quality of education in Sweden is quite good. Some of the best universities in Europe are found in Sweden. So there are about 14 public universities there and a number of independent institutions also that are found in Sweden. But in terms of quality of education, you are granted that this is one of the best countries you could get that. Language of study is not a problem because most of the programs are offered in English, even though English is not the official language in the country. So if you're wondering about how are you going to cope with the language when you're when you're there, I mean, this shouldn't be a problem at all because you get to learn everything in English. Now, it's also an opportunity for you to learn a new language, because these days one of the key proficiencies that people look out for when they're processing applications for employment and all that is your ability to speak a new language or a different language or a second language rather, other than English, especially for companies or organizations that want to expand beyond their local territory. So, but as for studying in English language in Sweden, that shouldn't be a problem. Our quality of life is okay in Sweden, with it ranking consistently as one of the best places for people to live in the world. And because of the organized system of government and all, there is a lot of investment in education and social healthcare, transport systems, and all that. And I even read that employees are able to take several weeks per year for vacation, and it's paid vacation as well, and subsidized healthcare if you're not eligible for maybe government healthcare system in the country. Tuition fees are low compared to places like the UK and the US. I think between 8,000 SEK. I didn't make the conversion to know what is the words in euro or in the US, but compared to what is obtainable in the US and the UK, it's quite relatively cheap place to go. Great prospects of job after study is also there because there are quite a good number of organizations, international organizations in Sweden that you could eventually get job with. So what is this scholarship all about? Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. So it's a Swedish government program or scheme that is focused on developing global leaders all over the world who are willing or will be able to contribute to the United Nations SDGs. I guess that everyone here listening should have come across the SDGs, which is Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. These are just some of the targets or things that the UN is hoping to accomplish in the next, by 2030. Okay, so this scholarship is focused on helping global leaders who are interested in working in this area to be able to get a scholarship to be able to study in Sweden. So someone, Albert, posted in the comment that 8,000 SEK is about 344,000 naira, and that's the tuition fee for 1 year. I mean, it's between 8,000 SEK to 15,000. So if you get a program that is 8,000, that is quite affordable for a year's program. Right. So the first thing about this scholarship is that it is a Swedish government program focused on developing leaders in the area of the Sustainable Development Goals. So if you're interested in working in any of those areas, or if you're already working in those areas, then this scholarship is looking for people like you. It is funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sweden and is administered through the Swedish Institute. So the program offers opportunity for you as a global professional to develop professionally and academically. So there are a lot of things that are involved in it. So it's not just about going to study only, but there is an opportunity for you to develop in your area of work, area of expertise as well, because you're going to get involved in a lot of professional development programs that will help you to become better equipped to go back to your country and implement all the skills that you will gain. It's also looking at exposing you to the Swedish society and culture, so you can build a great relationship with the country and with every other person who is coming in for the program. So what's the goal of the program? Basically, the goal is to enable everyone who gets the scholarship to gain or acquire the skills to become active in contributing to developing their societies wherever they find themselves living. So That's basically the objective of the goal, to prepare you and enable you to actively play a role in the development of your society, focusing or around, the sustainable development goals. So who is an ideal candidate? You have to be a professional in the first instance. And basically what that means is that you have a work experience or leadership experience. I think we'll talk about it as we continue, but you have to be a young professional with good academic qualifications and demonstrated work and leadership experience. You have to have an ambition to make a difference, by working in issues that have impact on your country or wherever you live around the sustainable development agenda of the United Nations. And you must have a clear goal. You must have a clear understanding or an idea of how this program will benefit your country. And this is where your motivation letter becomes very, very important. If you're not able to clearly state how this program will impact or benefit your country and convince the guys who are assessing you, to believe you through your motivation letter, then it will be very, very difficult for you to get the scholarship. So the point there is this: you have to have the required qualifications. You have to have work and leadership experience. You have to have a great interest in sustainable development activities in your country and how you can contribute to it. And then you have to have a good understanding of how this program will benefit your work and your country. So the key words that you have to focus on is having a strong and relevant professional background, and then being able to demonstrate leadership experience or leadership skills. So these are the two core things that the message that you need to take from today's presentation and about this particular scholarship is professional background that is strong and relevant and demonstrated leadership experience. So what kind of scholarship is it? One, it is a full-time 1 year or 2 year master's program scholarship, and it's only awarded for programs that are starting in August or September, which is the autumn semester in Sweden. And this is August or September next year. And that was why I said when I started that it is a program that you still have a lot of time to prepare towards. It is a program that has a lot of opportunity. Between now and September is a long time, okay? But you need to start now. It's not, this is not for you to go and relax and think, okay, there is a lot of time. Just that this program is starting in August or September next year doesn't mean that you should go and sit down. It means you should start applying and start preparing your documents so that you can get in on that, because there is a clause to it. And that clause is that if you don't get your admission confirmed by April, I think by first week of April, then you won't be able to be considered for the scholarship. But everybody who has his or her admissions considered or completed by 9th of April, you will be eligible to be considered for this particular scholarship. So you don't have to go and sit down and say, oh, okay, there is still time. You have to start right now, today, if this is something you are interested in or you feel you're eligible for. So it's a full-time 1 year program or 2 years program, depending on the course that you're going for in Sweden. So it is usually granted first for your first academic year, and then it would be extended for another 1 year if you maintain good scores. If you're able to maintain good scores in your study, then it will be extended for the second year. So it's not something you get, and of course, I'm sure that there's no one who would get a scholarship and go and relax, because if you mess up with your studies, they will definitely pull out the offer or the opportunity. So they will grant it for the first year, and then will be extended for the second year if you continue to maintain excellent results throughout your first year. And this is if you are on a 2 year program. But if you're on a 1 year program, it will just be for that 1 year only. So you cannot change it, and you cannot extend it beyond the period that is offered. So if you will get admission for a 1-year program, it will be just for 1-year program. If in between the program and you decide to, oh, okay, maybe I should go for a 2-year program, and then you're asking for an extension of the scholarship, that won't be possible. And you cannot transfer it to any other program as well. So maybe you got admission into mechanical engineering and the scholarship was offered for a mechanical engineering program. And then after your first semester, you decided that, okay, mechanical engineering is no longer for you and you want to transfer to chemical engineering or civil engineering. That you could transfer, but you won't be able to transfer the scholarship program alone. So what are the benefits for this scholarship? One, your tuition fees are paid by the Swedish Institute, and they are paid directly to the university that you got admitted into. So you don't have to worry about how to pay your school fees. Secondly, you get about 10,000 SEK. So with the calculation that Albert did, that would be about close to 500,000 or thereabouts. So you get that to cover your living expenses throughout the scholarship. So, and it's paid on a monthly basis. So the 10,000 SEK is paid on a monthly basis. So that's 10,000 divided by 12. That will give you the exact amount that you'll be able to receive per month during your study period. So you have insurance against illness and accident in case of any of such. Membership of the Swedish Institute Network for Future Global Leaders is automatically granted to you if you get this scholarship. And this is a platform that helps all the scholarship holders to grow professionally and build a network among themselves while they are in Sweden. And remember I said that the scholarship is not necessarily for academic development, it's also for professional development. So one of the ways you achieve that professional development is by participating in this network for future global leaders. And for me, really, this is where a scholarship is interesting. The scholarship is not just interesting to me because I have money to take care of myself without worrying about that, and I have money for my school fees without worrying about that as well. That's very, very good. But the network that you build is the most important thing. And I tell the guys in Scholarship Mastery Academy, one of the reasons why you should even think of going for a scholarship or studying abroad is the network that you're going to create. And this scholarship provides you an opportunity with that kind of network. So, but then it doesn't just end with when you're studying. After your study, you also be allowed to join the alumni network, which is also a way of continuing your professional development. And then you receive a one-time travel grant of 10,000 SEK to 15,000 SEK, depending on your country of origin. And this is for the entire study period. So you have 10,000 SEK or 15,000 SEK for travels. And that means that definitely maybe your flight ticket is covered to and fro from wherever you're coming from. I'm not sure how they break this down, if you can use it to go to conferences and stuff like that, but the thing is that you have some money that you can use for travels, and it is dependent on your country. And for Nigeria, it is 15. For Nigeria and some other countries, it's 15,000 SEK, while for other countries, it's 10,000 SEK. So what is not covered? It's important you know what is not covered. One of the things that is not covered is grant for family members. So if I was chatting with a friend yesterday, and we talked for a long time, and then he told me a story about someone who got an opportunity to study abroad and insisted on moving with his family and stuff like that, but then he didn't have enough money to prove that he could take care of his family, and he kept getting his visa application denied severally. So because his scholarship does not cover some of the things that would have needed, for his family to be able to come along with him and all that. So you need to note this properly, that grants for your families are not covered. So it looks to me that like the money for well, what is it called, illness and accident that is going to be used to cover your for your insurance may not cover for you and your family. So you need to ask some of these questions properly before you apply. If you're someone who wants to travel with your family, to Sweden for your study, if you eventually get a scholarship. If not, there's nothing wrong with going for the program and then settling down and then saving some money and bringing your family over. But have it at the back of your mind that your family will not be properly covered by this fellowship or scholarship. Application fee to the university admission is not covered by this. So when you're applying for admission, because the procedure is you have to get admission first, so which we're going to discuss as we continue. You have to get admission first before the scholarship is offered, and that every admission, your admission application requires a fee, and you have to pay for that yourself. So grants for your family members is not covered, and application fee for admission to university in Sweden is not covered as well. So what are the criteria? What makes you eligible to apply for this in the first instance? One is your country of citizenship. You must be a citizen of a country that is eligible for the program. And I have a list of that at the end of this, so I'm going to show it to you. And of course, Nigeria is on the list. Number two is that you must have a level of demonstration of leadership experience from your current or previous employment or civil society. So this is very, very important. You must be liable to pay a fee. So if you're not a fee-paying student in Sweden, you won't be eligible for this program. You must be someone who is required to pay school fees to be able to be eligible for the program, and you must have followed the steps to get admitted to university in Sweden into one of the eligible programs for this particular scholarship by 9th of April 2021. So remember I mentioned that you must be admitted by 9th of April 2021. If you're admitted beyond this date, you won't be eligible for this particular scholarship. So for anyone who is interested, now is time to start thinking about this program. Work experience is also a criteria. You must show evidence of 3,000 hours of demonstrated work experience, but they didn't tell for how many years. So if you've been working for 5 years and you can prove 3,000 hours of work experience, if you've been working for 1 year and you can prove that, or 2 years, or 3 years or 4 years, that is totally fine. And one interesting thing about how to prove your hours of work is that you can combine hours from your employed work and hours from a self-employed. Say for example, you were self-employed for 1 year or 2 years, and you have some hours gathered, and then you were then eventually employed by an organization, and you also gather some hours together. And if the 2 hours if the hours from the two aspects or kinds of employment that you've had can amount to 3,000 and above, it is allowed. So you can combine hours from self-employed work experience and formally employed work experience. So, and the scholarship is specifically for master's program, and it has to be for an area of priority for the Swedish Institute. So, as at today, they have not released the specific subject areas that they are interested in. But I think from either tomorrow or the coming week, the list of priority areas will be released on the website. So then you can check and make sure that you're applying for a subject or to a subject that is of interest to the Swedish Institute. Unfortunately, we don't have the list for this year, and I'm unable to provide them at this moment. So how do you apply for this particular program? So let's look at the required documents. Your motivation letter is a mandatory required document for this application. As a matter of fact, the required document I'll be looking at it are all compulsory. It is written clearly that if you omit any of those documents, you will be automatically disqualified. So it is important that you take note of them and make sure that you properly get them ready and organized. So one, you need a motivation letter, which you will need to fill and upload as a PDF file. You need a CV, and your CV must be on the form. So they have a form that you're going to use for creating your CV. But the most important thing I want you to pick from the CV is that it can never exceed 3 pages. So it is left for you to decide what is important to you and what is not important to you to put into the CV. Now that you know that this is a scholarship that is focused mainly on work experience and leadership experience, and now your academic experience or academic degree, it doesn't mean that they are not relevant. They are relevant, but this is one of those scholarships that falls into what I always tell you guys, that if you don't have a first class, you don't have to give up hope about studying. If you have a strong, you don't have to give up hope about studying on scholarship or abroad. If you have a strong work experience and a strong leadership experience, you can use that to prove your case at all times. And this is one of the scholarships. So there is strong emphasis on your work and your leadership skills or experience. So now they left the CV open to you to choose what to show them. But whatever it is you want to tell them about yourself in your CV should not exceed 3 pages. You need 2 letters, two reference letters. One of them must be based on your work experience, and that is mandatory. So you have to get a reference letter from someone who you've worked with or who understands your work experience and can talk about it. But all of them must be signed by the referee and stamped with an official stamp, or you can go to a notary public to stamp and sign it. So if without that as well, those letters will not be accepted. You need a valid and completed proof of work and leadership experience. So, and this also needs to be, remember like I mentioned, the work experience needs to be signed and stamped by a referee. But the whatever proof you're also going to show needs to be signed and stamped as well, also by whoever is writing your reference letter for you in terms of the work and leadership form. So you can use the organization that you are referencing in your write-up to do the signing and the stamping, or you can use the notary public. Then you need a copy of your passport biodata as well, and this should be added as the 4th page on your CV. So your CV is 3 pages only, then your biodata can be added as a single file, CPDF file, including your CV and your biodata page at the end of your CV. So at the moment also, all these documents, your motivation letter, your CV, the reference letter, the proof of work and leadership experience are on a form that will be provided by Swedish Institute. So you don't have to write your motivation letter on a blank page or your CV on a fresh page. Even the reference letter, every documentation that is required for you to provide or are required of you to provide will be on the form that will be available on the Swedish Institute website by December or early January next year. And it's compulsory to use those forms. So you don't have to use any other form apart from theirs, or else you'll still not be eligible for the scholarship program. Okay, so now how do you apply for this program after knowing what documents you need and what are the criteria for applying. First thing you need to do, there are 4 steps. The first one is that you have to apply for a master's program. So there are eligible master's program, like I said. These master's program are the areas that Swedish Institute is interested in, and you need to identify them and then apply to up to 4 of them by the middle of January. And every document that is needed must be provided by 1st of February 2021. So first thing you need to do is actually to start thinking of what programs that you may want to go into or apply to, or what universities you would want to apply to. Just start studying universities in Sweden and know which ones are offering programs in your area of interest, and then you wait for Swedish Institute to release their own priority areas and compare. As you're doing this, you get your documents ready. So, but the first thing is you need to apply to an eligible master's program in Sweden by January 15, and then if there are documents you need to provide, all must be provided by February 1st, 2021, including your application fee. And when you submit your application, you'll be given an application number, which is an 8-digit number. You are required to make sure that you save that number, because you're going to need that number when you now apply for the scholarship itself. So now when you apply for this and get every document submitted, you then have to submit all the required documents. Remember your CV, your motivation letter, the 2 reference letter, the proof of work, and leadership experience, and then your biodata, your passport biodata. All those documents, you will now need them to submit the application for the Global Professional Scholarship through an online portal. There's no email to send it to you, so you upload all the documents to an online portal. So the portal will open between 8th of February to 18th of February. So you just have 10 days window to make sure that you submit your application. And for a scholarship that is open to at least 42 countries or thereabouts, you don't have to dull yourself, if there is any word like that. But like we say it in Nigeria, and I understand what you mean, and I understand, and I hope you understand what I mean. You don't have to dull yourself, because you have 10 days to upload all those documents. If I were you, by 7th of February, all my documents are ready on ground. I'm just waiting for, midnight, 00008 February. I'll just upload my documents, because the network can shut down, the website can shut down depending on the number of people or the amount of traffic that will be driven to it, as people all over the world are trying to submit the application. So first you apply for your master's program and make sure everything is submitted by 1st of February. Then you apply for the Global Professional Scholarship between 8th and 18th. And then by 9th of April, you will receive a notification whether you have been selected for admission, whether you've been offered an admission. And remember that you need to pay your application fee. You need to pay your application fee to be able to get to this point. As a matter of fact, by 1st of February, you should have paid the application fee and submitted everything. So you will receive a notification to know whether you'll be selected or not. And if you've been selected, you will know by 9th of April. And then all selected candidates will be transmitted to the Swedish Institute for further assessment for the scholarship program. And number 4, the Swedish Institute will now assess every application submitted to them based on the list of those who have been admitted to the different programs. And then by 28th of April, there will be an official announcement of those who were successful with the application at si.se. Si.se is the scholarship Swedish Institute website. And I think between that 28th and 30th of April, all offer letters will be sent out as well. So what's the evaluation process? So how is it done? First is that there will be a screening process where they disqualify all applicants who did not meet the eligibility criteria or failed to submit the correct application. So this is very, very important. Paying attention to details. Paying attention to details. Reading in between the lines of on all instructions that are available on this particular program is key. If you miss any instruction and you do the wrong thing, at this first stage, you are out. Even if you have 10,000 hours to show from your work experience, or you've led all the organizations in this world as whatever it is, and you fail to meet the criteria or you fail to submit the correct application documents, you are out. So then after screening, there will be an evaluation before admissions, and the evaluation will grade all eligible candidates or applications. Then after that, there will be an evaluation. There's an evaluation before admissions and then evaluation after all admissions. And then this final evaluation will be the one that will be used to eventually admit anyone into the master's program. And then the list of all those admitted will be shortlisted based on the best and most qualified candidates. And this list will now be sent to Swedish Institute, who will now eventually do the final scholarship recipient selection. And then that will be the end of the selection process. So, I mean, this is what your applications will go through. First of all, it will be screened to make sure that you met all the eligibility criteria and submitted all the right documents. Then you'll be processed for admission, and then you'll be processed again after admission to rank everybody who is admitted across the different universities in Sweden, and then the list will be sent to the institute to note down, make its final selection. I'm not sure how many scholarships are available per year, but I assume that this is a big program because since they have an alumni that is growing and they are working on, they have a network of future global leaders. I assume it's going to be a big opportunity for a lot of people from different parts of the world. So I mentioned that there are countries that are not eligible and there are those that are eligible. So here I have a list of all the countries that are eligible from different parts of the world. So here we see Cameroon, we see Egypt, Ethiopia, Gambia, we see Georgia, Georgia, and then of course Ghana. I'm focusing on African countries, sorry. Kenya, Liberia, Malawi, Morocco, Nigeria is eligible. Rwanda, Sudan, Tanzania, Tunisia, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So we are there, eligible for this particular program. So if you feel that this is something that you could attempt, and it looks quite easy to me. The most difficult thing for me in this particular program is being able to write a strong motivation letter. I feel that's the most difficult thing in this program. Okay, so Albert said that about 300 or so was awarded last year. That's a huge number. So I think you should go for it. I think you should make an attempt to apply for this particular program. So what will you need? First, identify institutions in Sweden and area of interest for yourself, and then wait for the Swedish Institute list to come out so that you can compare or adjust accordingly. But first thing you need to do is to start looking at the universities or institutions in Sweden and read about them, understand how they work, and make a choice on which would be best for you. Then by the time the documents are ready, download all of them and read them thoroughly and then fill them out. as required, print, sign, and save as PDF. This is one thing you need to remember, that you need to, I think you need to type into it, and then print, and then sign, and then convert back to PDF. This, I mean, is a very simple step. I guess everyone here should be able to know how to do it by now, to do all that by now. So, and then when you're done with getting all your documents ready and saving them as PDF, you just submit them as soon as the portal opens. So have all the documents ready ahead of time. Don't wait until the last day to do that. You need to get all your documents ready before time, and in fact, that will give you opportunity to review them as many times as possible to make sure that everything is okay before the submission date. So that's where we will end the discussion for today on the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. And let's see if we can have a chat. So if you have any questions, you can type it in the comment. So I'll stop sharing so that I can see everybody and everybody can see me. And then we can talk. Yeah. So if you have any question, drop them in the chat, or you can switch on your mic and you can ask.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Oluchi.
Okay. So please, I want to know, you made mention of application fee. Is the application fee for the institute or for the SI network?
And so the application fee Sweden has a central university application system through universities in Sweden.se or something like that. So that is where you pay the application fee. So the application is not for the Swedish Institute; it's for your admission to a university in Sweden, and it's paid centrally because they have a central application system in Sweden. So when you're applying, you pay to the organization that is administering the admissions, which is not necessarily a Swedish Institute.
Okay, so does it mean with one admission application, I can, since it's made central, I can easily apply to more than 2 schools?
4 programs. You can apply to 4 programs, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. When Chinedu is asking, when is the university application commencing? I think the university application it has commenced already, middle of October. I think it has commenced already by middle of October. I can't remember exactly. So, but you need to check. You need to check universities in Sweden.se to see if they are open. I think I saw it somewhere that it has already opened. I didn't check. I have some questions here in the chat. Yeah, so Chinedu, I think it has already opened for the year, but if not, just check again, and then you can find out. And where to check is university in Sweden.se or something like that. I can quickly look that up and share with you. Okay, so it's universityadmissions.se. Universitiesadmissions.se. Okay, so Chinedu, go to universityadmissions.se to find out. I think I saw that it has started in middle of October, but you can reconfirm again to be sure. Ibrahim, you have a question not related to this, so we'll take your question after taking questions related to this. Francis, I applied the last 2 years, but I wasn't picked. But from today's presentation, I'm sure my work experience wasn't strong enough. However, I was in my final year at the university when I applied. Okay. Great. So now you know why you didn't get it last 2 years, but now you should be more qualified to apply for it if you want. So go for it and try again this time. So the main thing is you need to show leadership experience and prove that you've worked for 3,000 hours. And definitely your academic qualification needs to be strong as well, so that it doesn't knock you off. Because if you have someone who has the same number of hours with you, have good quality leadership experience, but has better academic performance than you, that will also matter. So the fact that I said that not having a first class or a 2-1 shouldn't stop you. It doesn't mean you shouldn't put effort to graduating with a very good result or making effort to have a good result, because it plays a role, but it's not the only thing that matters in scholarship application. Will having a master's degree be an advantage or a disadvantage? So if you have a master's degree awarded in Sweden, or have a master's degree that is offered that received a scholarship from Swedish Institute, it will not be eligible. So I don't think that having a master's degree would be a disadvantage, because it wasn't necessarily mentioned. The most important thing is being able to get admission. One thing is getting admission into the universities and getting a strong application. A strong application into the university for the university to recommend you to SI. So I would even say maybe it would be an advantage to you. In one way, if you are able to relate your previous masters to what you're going to do, what you want to do in the admission that you were seeking, in Sweden. So if there is a correlation to it, or if there's a way you can prove that what you have done before will be relevant in what you want to do now, or there's going to be a relationship between what you want to do and what you did before, it could be an advantage. But as per whether it will be a disqualification factor, I am not sure of that, unless the master's was offered was funded by Swedish Institute in the past. What documents could one use as evidence of work experience? What document can you use as evidence of work experience? One, your letter of offer letter. 2, recommendation letters from your bosses. Letter of appreciation for a particular position. Letter of appreciation from a volunteering work. I don't know if you can prove, with your pay slips as well and stuff like that. But you see all those recommendation letters, all those letter of promotion, all those letters of you have been offered to offer the particular positions, and stating how many hours you're supposed to work on that particular position and how many days per week, things that you can use to show your work and leadership experience. Yeah, so Albert is confirming that the application went live on 17th of October. Thank you very much, Albert, for backing me up in today's webinar. I know it was middle of October, but I wasn't too sure of the exact date.
I'm your assistant today, sir.
I appreciate. God bless you. Okay, can industrial training cover work experience? Can industrial training cover work experience? Well, I know that in Commonwealth scholarship, your industrial training would cover, but for Swedish institutes, it wasn't mentioned. The only thing that was mentioned was, one, a work experience from a formal employment, or work experience from self-employment. So those were the 2 things that came out clearly in Swedish Institute application, unlike the Commonwealth, where they mentioned categorically that your work as a student can be counted into your work experience. So I am not sure, but I will not ask you not to use it. I will ask you if your 3,000 hours will come from your industrial training program. Add it, and if you can provide evidence to show that, okay, you actually did some hours of work during that time, documentations from ITF. I think that's what it's called. Is it Industrial Training Fund, or your university, or your head of department, or IT coordinator? I think that's, I mean, if you can get those documents, go ahead and apply with them. Don't hold yourself back. See, so one thing with scholarship is this: you are not the judge. They will ask you for something. It is left for you to think beyond, out of the box, to ask yourself, what can I use to prove that I've done this? Because they want you to show that you have done it. And if you can think, deeply and critically, to pull things together to show evidence for anything you are claiming, you understand? These guys are fair. They will, if it really shows that, that what you're providing is answering the questions that they're asking, they will definitely, consider it. So what I advise is this: whatever it is you have that you can use to show that you're meeting some of those requirements clearly, and anytime you are asked to provide evidence and you can provide evidence for them, then use them. So your industrial training work is not clearly mentioned, and that is one reason why I would say you should use it, even, so long as you can get materials for it. Does the word essay have limit? Okay, so the motivation letter didn't state any limit. It was only the CV that was required to be not more than three pages. But usually your motivation letter shouldn't be more than 1 page. So I don't know. It shouldn't be more than 1 page. Times Romans 12.0 font size, 1.5 to 2 point spacing. Okay, of 1 page should be okay. So I would say 500 words, 750 words should be okay. And the most important thing is not even the length of the motivation letter. It is the content. That is what is most important. The quality of what you're saying about the program, quality of what you're saying about yourself, quality of what you're saying about your future, your dreams, your goals, your aspiration, why you're going for this particular program, why are you applying for a scholarship, why do you want to even travel out of your country in the first place to go abroad to study. So the quality of your discussion is what is most important than the word limit. So someone may write 5 pages of motivation letter and is talking trash, and someone may just write half page of motivation. And it is clearly seen in some of these exams, English language exam like IELTS, where you write and write and write and write and write, and you think that you're smashing it, but when the result comes out, you'll be like, oh wow, what is happening? And then you look at examples of people who are scoring 8 or 8.5 or 9.0, and you see that they just wrote maybe 250 words, 500 words, and they are scoring high in their writing skills because of the quality of what is being presented. So I wouldn't worry much about one. There is no word limit mentioned in the application document, but I wouldn't encourage you to write more than 1 page. How much is the application fee? Chinedu, I don't know, but someone has already posted that it's 990 SEK rather. So that is the cost of the application fee. I'm not applying for this thing, so I don't know what is the cost. I only pass across the relevant information. The things that you can find out by yourself, I wouldn't bother myself about it. Okay. Oh, okay, Oluchi, that's interesting. Yes. Yes, that's my home. That's my home. We can talk about that later on if you want. You can reach out to me personally. Okay, so those are all the questions.
Okay, sir. Sorry, how do I reach out to you? On Facebook or?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Facebook if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are all the questions on Zoom. I don't have any question here on Facebook. All right. right, so okay, so those are all the questions we have here on Zoom, and there's none on Facebook. Any other thing anybody wants to discuss or talk about? Look, there are some people I am seeing here I know a little bit about, and I think you guys are eligible for this program. And I know that some of you here are seeking masters, so you're eligible for this program. Go for it. You have time to start the process. You have time to start the process. Are there scholarship opportunities available for Africans studying in their home country? Yeah, of course. Except for the DAD in-country or in-region program. Scholarship for people studying in their own countries. So I know that there are a few African-related scholarship programs at Ruforum. And I know that Ruforum has some operations in Ghana, so Ghanaians should be eligible for Ruforum programs. African Academy of Science may have some programs for people studying in the country. TWAS, that's Third World Academy of Science, may have programs for people studying in Africa, in their home country in Africa. These are the three that can come, that I can remember on the spot that have such programs. I'm not sure of any other one at the moment. Probably if I remember, I can send them to you. I have your contact, or we're in touch, rather. So yeah, so yeah, that's true, exactly. Pan-African University. I think Pan-African University, I don't know if it has closed, but I know I shared it in the group. I shared Pan-African University's opportunities in the group, in the Telegram group, some weeks back. So I don't know how many of you who even looked at it, because sometimes, yeah, it's closed for the year. Yeah, but it should have closed now, because I know I sent it out around August or September. So that's a long time ago. It should have closed by now. So that was one of them. Oh, you applied for it. Oh, that's good. So that's one of the programs you can. So Pan-African Universities, TWAS, Ruforum, and African Academy of Sciences are the four, at least four, with the one that Godwin just added, that you can try. Yeah, so I think that's, yeah, I think you mentioned it to me, Godwin. So I remember you mentioned it to me. Okay, so if that's all about today's questions, I'll quickly share my screen again, and then we'll round up. And usually we used to stay back after the webinar so that those who want to go can go. Then we'll have a family meeting as usual. The Scholarship Mastery Academy is there to support your applications. If you are interested in being part of the Scholarship Mastery Academy, you can get in touch. All the information are there online if you search for Scholarship Mastery Academy. Like I said, when we started, we have an online course where some of these things are taught, and then we have a coaching and mentoring program where we work with you one-on-one to work through these scholarships. So if you're interested, you can get in touch and we'll discuss that. But it's not a free program, okay? It's the online course and the mentoring and coaching program is a paid program. If you are, and it's not for everybody. It's only for those who are interested. From tomorrow, first of all, I want to thank those who have signed up for this. But from tomorrow, I'm running a 30-day scholarship success program. Or it is a challenge where from 1st of November to 30th of November, we're going to have daily teachings and daily tasks and guidance depending on what comes up per day in a closed environment or a closed group. So my goal with this is because there are a lot of people who are always on the scholarship show, but eventually they just listen and then they go. They don't push themselves. They don't challenge themselves. They just, I don't know exactly what's the problem, but this particular program is to move people in that category out from that category to a category of people who are taking action every day, for the next 30 days towards becoming a scholarship fit and ready. So if you're interested, you can pay and join. To join the challenge is just 10,000 naira for 30 days. And for those 30 days, every day in the month, I'm going to work with you with the daily teaching and a daily task. So every day you have a task, and if you act on that on each day's task, you will move closer every day to becoming scholarship fit and ready. If you're interested, you can still join today. We're starting tomorrow. The group will be opened later in the evening tomorrow. So between now and tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, if you're interested, you are free to follow this link, read about it, and then follow the instruction on how to make any payment that is required of you. So the link is bit.ly/30DSSC, and the link is key sensitive. So the D is capital, SSC are all capital. So that's the link to follow to join the challenge from tomorrow. So if you're not able to join, I'm still very much happy to continue to share, stuff with us as much as possible. As much as I'm able to do that, I will continue to do it. So they are still we'll still continue with the webinars every week as much as we can. And if you're on the Facebook or the Telegram group, you will be receiving opportunities whenever I have them or I come across anyone. We have an Instagram profile as well that you can follow for updates, but I think the most active is the Telegram group. So if you can join that will be fine, and you'll still be receiving free tips. So if you don't have the funds to push yourself beyond just free stuff, and but you still have interest in scholarships and stuff like that, you'll still be good. So thank you very much for joining today's discussion, and I hope that someone who is fit or eligible for this scholarship will be able to take opportunity to look into it and apply eventually. What I want to hear is that you applied for it. Look for the 990 SEK and pay, and just get your documents and pray about it. Do your best, do your part, and leave the rest to God. Okay, that's my philosophy, and I encourage you to find yours, whatever works for you, and make sure you do it. But the most important thing is make sure that you are always applying. So I will see you next week, right?